Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Boat Club. Down here at the Boat Club docks, we're getting ready to pump up the jams, the space jams, that is, because we're here as always, as we are every week, to talk about Space Jam. John, you love Space Jam. I love Space Jam. We both love, say it with me, Space Jam. See, we both said it at the same time.
I don't know why we had to say that slowly. We could have just said it at normal pace because we knew what we were going to say. It wasn't like it was like we had no idea what we were going to say. You queued it up perfectly.
Yeah, it wasn't like I tried to do something of doing like the rule of threes. I was trying to throw you off by saying something else.
Yeah, exactly.
I just said Space Jam.
But we are here, Joe, to talk about our most favorite of franchises now, our most favorite of movies, our most favorite thing in the entire world, and that is Space Jam, the original Space Jam movie with Michael Jordan, and now they've got a sequel.
Yeah, they have a new film, and we're here today to review it. The creators of Space Jam, of Warner Brothers, have been very kind to invite people to see it early before it's out in the cinemas. Now, we weren't invited, but we're still going to review it, aren't we, John?
Yeah, I feel like we have a pretty good idea. I mean, we watch Space Jam at least twice a week since
I'd say
it came.
a day.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
you're the resident Space Jam expert. I'm just an aficionado. Since it came out in 1996, how old were you, Joe, when it came out in 1996?
When it came out in 1996, I would have been 3.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I should have been clearer when I said I've basically watched Space Jam twice a day. What I mean is I've watched Space Jam twice, and both of those times were during the day. Should have been clearer about that.
Okay, well then I'm the expert then in that regard.
Yeah.
Because I only tell truths. I say I watch it twice a week, and I stand by that.
This is how it works. You only tell truths. I only tell lies. Escape our dungeon.
Good luck. And now, like every good dungeon, Joe.
No, finish that sentence.
Like every good dungeon, there needs to be a good final boss, which is why, Joe, at the end of this Space Jam 2 review, we're gonna bring out the final boss, which is our rating of the movie. Isn't that right?
I was really worried where that was going when you said our Ray.
Oh no. No, our rating.
Yeah.
We're going to be rating the movie.
As always, we are going to be rating Space Jam 2 the same way we've rated Space Jam every episode of this podcast, and we're now on episode 201. That being out of 5 tries.
5 tries, exactly right.
Yep.
Out of 5
tries with the basketball.
The basketball. That's what Space Jam 2 has to face at the end of this dungeon. The final boss, which is a rating of 3 tries.
They're getting through some some mini bosses, some random encounters. Like, oh, what did you think of this person? Were they miscast? Oh, did you think that they made some relevant pop culture references? And then the final boss, the rating.
You know, some people may argue that we should have used some basketball analogies to determine this review, but I'd say shut up. We want to do a dungeon, a dungeon-esque analogy for this.
We did a dungeon and a rugby-related analogy.
Oh yeah, I only just noticed that you said tries.
We were like, hey, look. We think this is a home run of an idea for a podcast. It's definitely not going to be an own goal.
No, it's all the analogies.
Here's a question: can you score an own goal in basketball? Has that ever been done?
Yeah, I think you can.
Have people ever dunked in their own goal?
Yeah. Because if for example the ball goes up in the air and it tries to go into the net and then it bounces up, you get like a bunch of players jumping up to the ball for the rebound, and maybe sometimes, maybe accidentally, one of the defending players tries to snap it away, but accidentally puts it in his own net.
Well, hey, John, it's nice that you, the voice of basketball, is here for this.
Not only am I the expert of Space Jam, but I'm also the voice of basketball. If you have any related basketball questions for the voice of basketball, or VOB for all you super fans.
John,
Yes.
as the voice of basketball, could we just quickly, as we do every episode, take a moment for you to give us this week's pronunciation of the word basketball?
Yes, certainly, Joe. As every week is the same. The pronunciation this week is basketball. Thank you.
Voice of basketball, everybody. So before we get into Space Jam 2, I do just want to talk about an important issue, John, which is it's been a while since Charles Barkley's hosted Saturday Night Live. I wonder what's going on there.
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed in that. He's always been a really fun host, like the sort of host that you don't expect to be so good. And then it's just his mediocreness is just shines. Just shines.
Yeah. You know what? Everyone's like, hey, he's so low energy. He brings no characters to the scene. I'm like, no. He brings the same character and the same lack of energy to every performance.
That's what we love about
That's
him.
commitment.
Would you say, I think I probably know the answer to this, but what is your who is your favorite basketball host of SNL ever?
My favorite basketball host of SNL ever.
Shaq was good. Shaq was good.
Shaq was good. Not a basketball, but Wilson from Castaway was excellent.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think I'm gonna have to go for. I'm gonna have to go for my main man, Bugs Bunny.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's a good one. I mean, he's probably the best basketball player out of them all. He's just such a natural.
He dunked on Jordan.
Yeah. Back in the 90s, he sure did in the TV adverts. You know who else dunked on Jordan? Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
While eating a Big Mac. Did you know about this?
I did not.
Oh yeah.
Hey, this is time for our regular feature. Did you know this about Michael Jordan?
Yep.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
Did you know Michael Jordan played multiple sports?
I did. I knew he played 2 sports, but I didn't know he played multiple sports. That's a good one. That's
yeah.
Hey Joe, did you hear that Jordan likes smoking cigars after every win after a game of basketball?
I did hear that. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
John, did you hear that Michael Jordan actually he one time looked at Mario and said, "Look that M. That's how Wario was made."
Wow. Oh. Hey Joe, have you ever heard that Michael Jordan actually his piss isn't yellow or clear at all? It's actually liquid gold.
I haven't heard that.
Oh. That's because I made that one up. That was a trick question. That was a trick, not a trick question. That was a trick piece of trivia. And if anybody at home managed to catch it, please call 0117 725 7255.
I'm just gonna say now, for the avoidance of doubt, breaking character for a second. Please don't ring that if you're watching this. I don't know if that's a real number, but if it is, please don't.
Joe,
all 2 of you bombard a person with calls.
Joe,
in fact, no. If you're watching this and that's a real number, ring them and say it's time to pump up the Space Jams, then hang up.
Joe, you realize that the moment this video goes live, the only person who's going to be calling that number is me, because I'm going to be rewatching this episode.
Every time you rewatch this, John, you have to recall that number and just say it's time to pump up the Space Jams.
Those poor people are going to get absolutely, they're going to get rammed with calls.
So, John, the reason we're here.
Yes.
And it's not to talk about the inclusion of Ninja, Chocobo, Cactuar, and Black Mage in Mario Basketball for the DS.
Mm-hmm.
It's not to talk about Basketball, the film from Trey Stone and Matt Parker about a sport that combines basketball and baseball.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even to talk about basketball itself.
Mm.
It's to talk about Space Jam 2. So, John, obviously, as I say, people were invited to come see it. We weren't. What were your thoughts?
So yeah, just off the bat, we did not watch this movie, but because of our endless knowledge of Space Jam 1, we feel like we know exactly what's going to happen. And honestly, I think it started a bit slow. I think I wasn't super invested in. I'm going to assume LeBron James had some family problems at the beginning. There was some sort of, there was something like he wasn't happy in his life at the
There was
beginning.
his uncle who kept saying, "You keep taking my soap. Stop
Yeah,
taking my
yeah.
soap."
Oh, for any of you LeBron aficionados, what's his name? It's the old man LeBron from the LeBrons.
Yeah, it's. Oh, we did forget to say one of the best things about this film is that the live action scenes, everyone is LeBron.
Yeah,
It's kind of a bit like that bit in Being John Malkovich, but it's LeBron.
Yeah. There's actually, talking of people coming in, there's a lot of good cameos. So I was just going to finish. So I think it started slow, but the moment LeBron meets up with the animated characters like Bugs Bunny and the Looney Tunes, if you will.
Yeah.
Then
John, let's just take a moment. All the Looney Tunes, I think we should list them now. Let's go backwards and forwards. I'll start.
Okay.
Bugs Bunny.
Leela Bunny.
Stitch Bunny.
Yeah. Porky Pug.
Mirvan the Mirsnarn.
Big Chungus.
Terrifying Chris.
The Tasmanian Angel.
Mayor McCheese Jr.
The big yellow girl chicken from from McDonald's. McDonald's ads.
Reverend Fatbug.
That robber from the McDonald's ads. He steals hamburgers.
Yeah. Black Dynamite, the animated series.
I don't know if they were supposed to be fries. But whatever the colourful, like loopy, dreaded eyeball things were in the McDonald's ads.
And of course, Blublo the whale. So that's all the Looney Tunes. So you liked it when they all turned up.
I think the moment LeBron James teamed up with the Looney Tunes, I think that's when the film really got going. And then we got like a host of cameos, and then ultimately they did the exact same thing as they did in Space Jam 1. There's an evil corporation or some evil in the universe that wants to beat the Looney Tunes or take control of them, so they fight in a basketball game.
Yeah.
The other opposing team, they're like made up of the best, or they take their essence from real basketball players in the real world, and you think you're about to lose and there's no hoping chance, but then something happens. In this case, LeBron James. So in the original movie, Michael Jordan wins it with a massive slam dunk by extending his arm. LeBron James does the exact same thing, but he extends his head. He extends his head all the way to the top, just so he, it works. If it works, it works.
So I did want to take this time to talk about. I want to know how you felt about the fact that obviously the original had Bill Murray turning up. But how did you feel about the side plot of this one about Andy Murray trying to teach LeBron James how to play tennis?
I loved it. I think from what I can imagine it looking like, I loved it.
Yeah.
I think Andy Murray in 2021 is just so memorable. He's on everybody's mind still after winning Wimbledon back in 2016 or so, or whatever, 5 years ago. But I think people are still thinking of Andy Murray, not even just British people, but Americans. Americans are
Yeah,
thinking of Andy Murray.
that's why I liked the fact that, of course, when Andy Murray turns up every time, they have that ADR person shout, "It's Andy Murray!"
Yeah, no, it's
Just
it's
so it's
funny.
clear who it is.
Exactly. It's actually a good thing that they did say that, because the moment Andy Murray came on, nobody knew who he was until that spokesperson said, or
And
that.
then as soon as he did, everyone was like, I didn't remember at first, but now that I know, I realize this is important and good. And I
That's how
love it.
you that's how you know he's memorable.
Yeah.
And he's so iconic. Joe, let me ask you a question.
Oh, sure, yeah.
What did you think of the similarities between LeBron and Michael Jordan? Did you prefer one to the other, or what do you think they both brought to the
Well, let's
film?
run through the tail of the tape here, John.
Okay.
So obviously you got Jordan, the GOAT, greatest of the basketball.
Hmm.
600 MVPs. Scored every shot between 1991 to 96 in the basketball. One time killed a man, but it was during play, so he only got a yellow card.
That's right.
And then you've got LeBron, the Cleveland Cavalier,
Hmm.
famous for jousting the ball. He's 17 rings, only 10 fingers, had to
Hmm.
double ring 7 of his fingers.
Hmm.
At least 16 of those rings, MVP rings. One time scored a shot in a game he wasn't in. Um,
That's right. Everybody was super confused in that game.
and of course, the thing everyone knows LeBron James for, his 9-inch brass dick.
That's right. 9-inch plastic.
Mysteriously, they spend a lot of time in the film talking about the fact that it actually gets shorter when erect.
It's weird because I believe it was PG-13, and that was how they, yeah, that was
Yeah,
how
Bugs
they
Bunny just turns up and he's just like, "Hey, how come your dick gets smaller when you get erect?"
Please tell me Bugs Bunny is eating a carrot or a banana. He's not. It's not the brass stick, is it?
No, he's actually eating on his classic smoked frankfurter.
That's actually that could be a conversation for the next week's episode of the Space Jam 2 adult film that we might have to talk about, because there's a lot to talk about of that movie. So Joe,
Oh yeah, John.
so obviously the Space Jam 1, absolute iconic movie, and
Mm.
some of the best bits.
Everyone remembers all the jokes from it. Like,
Every single joke, every.
John, name a joke from it.
There's a bit where a Wayne Knight comes in,
I
and
remember that.
he's ready to come in and play, and they say, you look at Wayne Knight and you think he's not a basketball player, but he
Yeah,
was so excited. That I thought that was hilarious.
yeah.
Joe, you name a joke.
Okay, sure. You know the bit where Larry Bird's there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was great.
Yeah.
So my
Top
question
10 jokes of all time involving Larry Bird.
Well, my question is this, Joe. Obviously, there are so many iconic moments in Space Jam 1. What is your favorite callback on Space Jam 2? What is your favorite callback to Space Jam 1?
Well, I think it's a very clever one, which is that obviously we all remember the inimitable legend that is Bill Murray and his part in Space Jam 1. But I really loved the fact that at one point there's the cameo by Mac from Mac and Me, but as voiced by Brian Doyle Murray, Bill Murray's brother.
Yeah. It's actually funny because when Mac and Me first turn up in the movie, they're introduced by Paul
I
Rudd.
forgot Me is also in the film.
Who?
Me. Mac and Me, yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah, the boy, Me.
That was his name.
What's his name? Me. Why do you think it's in the title? It's Mac and Me.
Yeah.
So they're actually introduced by Paul Rudd in Space Jam 2, aren't they?
They are, yeah. He just turns up and he's like, hey guys, we're about to see a clip from Space Jam 2. Let's roll the clip.
Wait. He's in Space Jam 2 and he comes in and says, I'm going to show a clip from this movie.
Yeah. He's just like, hey guys, let's watch the next scene from this film. You know how that's how they do it now. They have actors like in the Muppets films. They get cameos to come in and introduce what's about to happen in the next scene, just so that anyone who doesn't get the joke can recognize that it's funny by being explained to them what's about to happen.
Joe, another question that I wanted to ask you was, we've got to talk about the villain, okay?
Oh
the villain,
yeah, we do have to talk about
Danny
Trejo.
Danny Trejo DeVito was what we're assuming is the villain from Space Jam 2. Danny DeVito was the voice of the alien from Space Jam 1. But Danny DeVito Trejo, Space Jam 2 villain, what do you think?
Well, I really thought it was bold of Danny DeVito Trejo to play Don Cheadle in this film.
Yeah.
And you know what? I thought I was going to hate that. I thought that I was going to be very confused, but I wasn't confused. I didn't hate it. And you know what? I'm just going to say it. I think he was one of the best villains in the entire SJCU.
I'm going to put this out there. I think Don Cheadle is probably the best villain.
Dominic Toretto Cheadle is probably the best villain that I've ever seen in any movie. Well, now, I think you're, of course, forgetting about the greatest villain of all time. Donald Trump in Home Alone 2.
We have to talk about his cameo in Space Jam 2.
We do have to talk about Trump's cameo.
We have to talk about Trump's cameo in Space Jam 2. Because apparently this was filmed in 2018.
Oh, sorry, yeah. I heard it was filmed on the day he lost the election.
Oh, sorry, no, yeah, you're right. It was 2020. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, yeah, they filmed him twice.
Yeah.
There are two Donald Trumps there, filmed 2 years apart to the day.
And it's weird because they're talking to each other. And you don't know how that's done. It was a crazy piece of camera work.
Yeah, it's incredible, and
so the scene plays out. Just so you guys know, the scene plays out the exact same way as Home Alone 2, where LeBron James is going into a New York hotel and walking around, and he asks Donald Trump. He asks Donald Trump, what does he say? He's just like, which way to the door or whatever.
And Donald Trump 1 is in the middle of saying it's that way. When up comes Donald Trump 2 to try and answer. And then comes a bit where they both keep saying, no, shoot him. I'm the real Donald Trump.
Yeah, it's really weird. And then sort of by this point, LeBron James has already walked away.
Yeah, and what did you think of the final line of it of Donald Trump actually in person hearing on the phone that he's lost the election and saying, no, shoot me?
I loved it. I thought it was great. I'm not the biggest Donald Trump supporter, so politically speaking, I was happy with it. But as a moviegoer, as a film critique,
as a cineast,
I would say it was probably one of the most poignant moments in the movie.
So how did you feel about it when he then performed the entirety of Radiohead's No Surprises and somehow pre-planned 2 years ahead of time to do backing vocals?
It was great. That's the bit I'm referring to. I think that was just so poignant and so beautiful. It was like out of a David Lynch movie, which
Yeah.
it was just so like looking like describing it right now. It sounds utterly fucking mental, and it
Yeah.
sounds like the ramblings of an improvised podcast. But you have to
That
watch
would
it.
be fucking mental though. Like who'd listen to an improvised podcast? We wrote
Well,
all this ahead of time.
yeah, of course. I mean, I've got the prompter right in front of me.
Yeah.
Joe, let me ask you this.
Oh sure.
Let me ask you this. Do you think some of the criticisms of Space Jam 1 say that it's a product of the time? It's just 90s fluff. It was made out of a commercial and it's just 90s references and there's no cinematic nuance to it. What do you say? Do you think there's going to be haters for Space Jam 2? Do you think they're going to say the same thing?
John, I'm glad you brought this up because I have one thing to say to the haters, and you know what? I respect that everyone has differing opinions and that we're not all the same. But if you're out there hating on Space Jam 2, I've got one thing to say to you. Are you kidding me? I mean, come on, it's Space Jam 2! It's Space Jam 2! So that's my opinion. Yeah. Does that cover it?
I think so. I think that's loud and clear.
And hey, so John, we've opened the chests. We've got the armor of our opinions on.
Oh.
We've got the sword of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
The shield of context.
Mm-hmm.
The arrows of having talked about the film.
Mm-hmm.
The bow of having shot those arrows of talking into people's ears.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're ready to take on the dragon of rating.
The final boss.
Yeah. So as we established earlier, on a scale of 1 to 5 Donald Trumps, how many Trumps?
We've changed the rating?
Yeah, it's now 5 Trumps.
Oh, 5 Donald Trumps, okay.
Yeah. What would you give Space Jam 2?
I'm gonna also use the old system of 3 tries, if that's okay with you, just because I've been thinking about it throughout this review. I'm gonna give it, Joe. Are you ready for this? I'm gonna give it 2.5 tries out of 3. And I'm gonna give it
out of 3.
Out of 3 tries. That's what we agreed on. So 2.5 tries out of 3. And then I'm gonna give it 4 baby Trumps out of 5 Trumps.
Oh yeah, that is the bit we didn't talk about. Where right at the end of it, in the post-credit scene, LeBron is sent off by Werner Herzog to secure a package that turns out to be baby Trump.
Yeah, that was a little in joke for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm giving it 4 Trumps. 4 Trumps. I'm glad that you actually mentioned that last scene. I nearly forgot about it, but that was like again so pretty.
I gotta say, at the base of that, I'm very excited for the LeBron DeLorean.
Yeah, so am I. I just love the possibilities of doing a Space Jam 3 into the multiverse.
Yeah.
Joe, what are your ratings?
Well, out of 3 tries,
yeah,
I'm giving it a full 3.
What?
And out of 5 Trumps, I'm giving it nothing.
Wow. I think this is the first time in the show that we've given a Space Jam related show. Well, you have the full 3 tries.
Obviously, yeah. In every previous episode, I've refused to rate Space Jam 1.
Yeah.
But I'm ready to reveal that now my rating for Space Jam will be coming in episode 300. So keep listening to the next 99 episodes to hear it.
Well, now that you know that Joe has given Space Jam 2 3 tries out of 3, that's pretty impressive. You're
And let's just say, I also think Space Jam is a film.
What?
It's a film, like Space Jam 2.
Space Jam. Space Jam's a film?
Yeah, Space Jam New Legacy, the sequel to Space Jam.
No, Joe. Space Jam isn't just a film. It's a way of life.
What the fuck are you on about?
That's our show!